Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. And I want to talk about Miles Bridges because it would appear as if the Charlotte Hornets are shopping him. I've been seeing multiple reports come out that the Phoenix Suns are confident that they can do a trade for Miles Bridges. The Utah Jazz are interested in him, and Charlotte still hasn't extended him. And I honestly feel like this is a huge mistake. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Like, if the Charlotte Hornets GM trades Miles Bridges and Gordon Hayward to the Phoenix Suns for Bradley Beal, if he loses his job, I think he absolutely deserves to lose his job. You know, it's things like this, when I hear reports like this, that I feel like there are legitimately YouTubers that could run a front office better than some of the people that are in the front office, you know, in places like Atlanta and in Charlotte, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, I understand that what Miles Bridges did a year and a half ago now, I think, is bad. He sat out all last season because of it. And I understand if you're Charlotte, that's maybe frustrating. Maybe you don't want a player like that on your roster, which is understandable to an extent. But the fact of the matter is, trading Miles Bridges and Gordon Hayward for Bradley Beal it doesn't seem like it's the move. Okay, I think it would be pure fucking stupidity. And the reason I say that is because Phoenix is looking to get rid of Bradley Beal because A, his contract sucks, and it provides a little bit of merit to what Kevin Durant said about being frustrated in Phoenix. Okay, like usually team insiders, like sources close to the team, usually don't lie about things like that. Okay, unless they're specifically trying to get a player out of town. Because it's Kevin Durant, when I heard that he's frustrated, I was like, I instantly believed it. Because I'm like, okay, they're not playing good basketball. They're not good defensively. They play kind of whoever offense, right? Bradley Beal has been injured. So, you know, it would make sense almost that the Phoenix Suns would try to come off of Bradley Beal's contract in order to get some salary cap relief so they could put something around Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Miles Bridges if they were to trade for him. Because Gordon Hayward is on an expiring deal. I doubt Phoenix would bring him back. They get off of Bradley Beal's contract. But the thing is, like, this trade for the Charlotte Hornets simply doesn't make any sense. And the reason I say it doesn't make any sense is because Bradley Beal is getting paid significantly more money than he's worth. Okay? Granted, when Bradley Beal plays, he's a great player. Okay? But you have a guy in Miles Bridges who, through the month of January, is playing his ass off. Like, I'm just going to call it what it is. Like, I don't give a fuck what people think about what he's done off the court. On the court, he's a damn good basketball player. The dude plays defense. He rebounds. Through the month of January, I think he's shooting 48% from the field and 42% from three, and he's averaging 20 plus a game. Like, this is a guy that, if I'm the Charlotte Hornets, I'm retaining him. It's not often that the Charlotte Hornets hit on draft picks, and they hit on LaMelo Ball, they hit on Mark Williams, they hit on Miles Bridges, they hit on Brandon Miller. You finally have a young core, and now, instead of developing that young core and putting some other pieces around it as it grows, you want to get rid of Miles Bridges, get rid of Gordon Hayward to bring in a guy who's going to put you in salary cap space hell for the next 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I understand that what Miles Bridges did is wrong, but are we in the NBA to make basketball moves, or are we in the NBA to make the morally correct moves? You know, that's the problem that I have with this whole thing, right? If you are an NBA GM, your focus should be on winning basketball games, putting a winning team on the floor for the head coach, not worry about what the fuck they're doing. Like, there's only a handful of times that I think are, you know, actually not even that. There's a difference between, like, Miles Bridges and Kevin Porter Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing if this was a repeat occurrence and it's happening all the fucking time, then I could understand trading Miles Bridges. You know what I'm saying? At that point, I could, but it happened once. Okay? Kevin Porter Jr. has done shit way worse than what Miles Bridges has off the court. Okay? But somehow, Kevin Porter Jr. was a guy who, even when he was in Cleveland, okay, was a guy that was rumored to have off-court issues, and he just kept going to teams, and, finally it got so bad that Houston was like, we're just fucking getting rid of you, okay? But being that this is the only thing that we've heard of Miles Bridges off the court, I just think to myself, like, there's, Kobe Bryant had a domestic violence thing too when he was in the early 2000s or whatever, right? And not that people forgave him, but people got over it, okay? Like, it just, to me, it seems silly, right, to basically hold a grudge and, cost yourself about $30 million a year more than you should just because you want to take the moral high ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could bring back Miles Bridges on a 4-year, $120 million extension, and I guarantee you he would take it based on the qualifying offer you gave him, and, you would have at least two pieces to go forward in LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges. But the problem is, if you trade for Bradley Beal, I understand you want to get something for Gordon Hayward, but, I guess the question for the Charlotte Hornets would be, is what Miles Bridges did really worth putting yourself in salary cap space hell for the next 4 years? Like, is it that bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really that bad? Because I get that he didn't play for you all season last year, but you got Brandon Miller out of it, So it's just the idea. I don't condone what Miles Bridges has done, but I just think to myself, like, I've seen NFL players, get second chances for doing shit that was way worse, And I just think to myself, like, I understand this is frowned upon, and I like it. And even, honestly, if Miles Bridges wasn't playing so well, I could understand it even more. But the thing is, the dude through the month of January has been balling his ass off, and he's been the one guy keeping your team afloat while LaMelo Ball has been out with injury. That's another reason that I'm like, why? Why would you trade for Bradley Beal when LaMelo Ball is, injured all the fucking time? Why would you trade, one of your young pieces that is winning games for you or helping you win games? I mean, granted, Charlotte's not winning a whole hell of a lot of games, but the one guy who's at least keeping your team somewhat competitive, why would you trade him for an older guy who's getting paid significantly more money and is going to hurt your ability to put pieces around a duo of LaMelo Ball and Bradley Beal? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Because all that's going to do is hurt you in retaining either Mark Williams or Brandon Miller in the future. That's all that's going to do. And because you already owe LaMelo Ball $200 million, right? Now, you want to take on Bradley Beal, who I think is close to $200 million as well. Like, I just don't understand the logic behind this move or why Charlotte is moving him, because if I were the Charlotte Hornets front office, okay, like, what Miles Bridges does off the court is what he does off the court, okay? Unless he fucking murders somebody or, something else comes out that's significantly worse, okay? Like, I would argue it would make sense for Charlotte to re-sign Miles Bridges, because you could use that as an excuse to extend him for less money. Like, that's why I don't understand all of this. You have his bird rights, okay? You can say, hey, this is what we think you're worth, and no offense, but, you didn't play for us last year. The domestic violence thing is something we're not exactly happy with, but we do want to try to keep you around. Maybe you get him for, 4 years, $80 million, or 4 years, $90 million. Maybe you don't even have to pay him $100 million. It just seems to me like the Charlotte Hornets have leverage, and instead of using that leverage, they're going to give that leverage away to get an older player who doesn't fit their timeline, who is getting paid way too much money. So, it just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. I think the Charlotte Hornets have a very nice young core. I like Brandon Miller. I like Mark Williams. I like LaMelo Ball. I like Miles Bridges as a basketball player. I think is very good and has the ability to be a really, really good wing in the NBA in the future. I think he'll be a multiple-time All-Star, to be honest with you. I just don't see why you would get rid of that for a guy who doesn't even fit your timeline. You know, like that's the other part of it. You know, I get it. I get they want to get rid of Gordon Hayward and they would really like to get off his contract with something. But, you know, you got to understand also you're providing a shit ton of flexibility to the Phoenix Suns, who could bring in Miles Bridges and pay him like a deal around what they paid Mikal Bridges and get off of Gordon Hayward's contract, and suddenly they have a whole lot more cap space to bring guys in to put shit around KD, Devin Booker, and Jusuf Nurkic. So I just think it's a mistake. That's my big thing with this. It's like, I understand what Miles Bridges did off the court was bad, but if you're the Charlotte Hornets, not extending Miles Bridges seems like a really, really stupid fucking move. And, you know, it still irritates me that the Charlotte Hornets have not gotten rid of Michael Jordan's regime, because I feel like a lot of the GM or front office moves that have been made by the Charlotte Hornets have been bad. Okay? Like, the only thing that they've done correctly is draft players. That's the only thing that they've done correctly in the past couple of years, is they've finally started hitting on draft picks. But the Gordon Hayward contract extension, the Terry Rozier contract extension, like, those were contract extensions that probably should not have been done. You know, and who knows, maybe you could have gotten, you know, in those years that you were paying Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier, maybe you could have gotten something more promising. You know, it's just, I don't like the way that they operate. And this, to me, honestly, this whole move to me, the idea that they're even looking to shop Miles Bridges, says to me that they're worried about taking the moral high ground way more than they are about winning basketball games. And if I'm the GM of any basketball team, my job comes first before my feelings. You know, every job has the saying, you know, leave your feelings at the door, leave your issues at the door. Well, that's what you need to do if you're an NBA GM in this specific instance, okay? The Lakers did it with Kobe Bryant, okay? The Lakers were like, listen, we know the domestic abuse thing is a big deal, but he's too fucking good to let him go. And I feel like that's the mentality Charlotte should have towards Miles Bridges, because regardless of what you think of him off the court, on the court, he's pretty fucking good. You know, like, even as a Pacers fan, I'm like, if they're ditching Miles Bridges, yeah, I want him. Like, give him to me. We need a good wing anyway. You know, like, there's a lot of teams in the NBA that are doing that, and I just feel like moving Miles Bridges would just be pure stupidity. Okay, especially if you're going to get a guy like Zach LaVine or fucking Bradley Beal out of it. Like, I actually think that's a fireable offense, because Miles Bridges is a guy that you can pay less than Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal and still get like that level worth of production or close to it out of him. Miles Bridges is a better defender than Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine both are. So, I don't know, man. You know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. The Hornets are going to do what they want to do, but I feel like trading him to Phoenix or to you know, any other team, the Utah Jazz that are apparently interested in him, like, I just feel like trading him would be a huge mistake, because if you trade him for a guy like that, you're fucked. You're in salary cap space hell, and I feel like that could also hurt your ability to retain LaMelo Ball in the future. LaMelo Ball is a guy you have to keep on your team, because when he plays, he's capable of like a 30-point triple-double almost. And I feel like if you're the Hornets and you make this move, you deserve whatever failure you get. You know, because I just think it doesn't move the needle for them, and you're taking on significantly more salary than you need to just to say, hey guys, we traded him, he's no longer on our roster. So, I don't know, man. Tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more. I'm the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.